Yeah, they started off 1-3, then they went 14-0, and now they've gone 0-5. So it's very like a roller coaster,
10
very up and
seconds
down, very
remaining.
stonks, very Bitcoin right now. But well,
5
they've banned
seconds
out a lot
remaining.
of Mizu's style of heroes as well. The Night Stalker's gone, the Brewmaster's gone. You can see him occasionally go into the Vengeful Spirit, so perhaps a little bit of targeting happening here for Polaris, realizing that he is one of the key playmakers for them. And that Spirit Breaker didn't do anywhere near enough, but I feel like that's just on, again, I want to highlight the Polaris supports. They identified the fact that, look, if we can take out this impact of the charge, with the swap or the glimpse or other factors there, then obviously it's not going to be anywhere near as
Queen
effective.
of pain.
Quad picked up, huh?
Uh, I don't like the pick as much because I don't think they can play it on Boomy, which they have
10 seconds
previously,
remaining.
but I am not a fan of Lion
Not with the line
5.
revealed.
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
seconds
And
remaining.
now you're going into Tiny Grim, which is a decent amount of control already. I mean, the lane, I think, versus Tiny is pretty decent because of the melee. But it will get to a stage around level 4 where Tiny can just use the combo to shove out the lane. And then when you've got Blink, that's a lot of burst potential. Okay. So another hero that... Now, see, this support duo is very interesting, isn't it? Because I want Grim and Shadow Demon both to be
10 seconds
position
remaining.
4. But
Mm-hmm.
they...
5
Oh,
seconds
okay. So you
remaining.
could go Shadow Demon 5 and play the Leshrac with him, which is... I still, in the game, I want Shadow Demon to have a lot more farm priority, which won't be the case, but at least that's a decent laning combo.
But what is Grimstroke good against this game so far? That's the other question, right? I don't feel like it's great against any. I mean the Soulbind, right? But you don't need a ton of farm to make Soulbind a factor. So I feel like maybe they might still be tossing things up a little bit as to where they're going to play both of these supports. I feel like Shadow Demon 5 is going to be so much more effective because
Radiant
Polaris,
team ban.
they've got insane setup for team fights, right? Like Ravage into Sonic Wave into Finger of Death, Stun, Stomp, Earth Splitter. So if you're able to disrupt that a little bit with a Shadow Demon, who will need a little bit more farm, so he gets an Aether Lands or a Blink Dagger, then I feel like that's probably going to be a little bit more effective
10
this game.
seconds
And then
remaining.
even just for their pick-off engagements, you
5
just toss
seconds
the
remaining.
Demonic Purge onto someone, and then Leshrac runs them down. And there's very little that anyone can do against that outside of the Queen of Plane if she's got a Blink available.
How much of a fan of you the ET getting picked up, and what do you feel like it provides Polaris?
Dire team ban.
Probably just the counter to the Leshrac, right? Like either forcing out an earlier than he would like BKB, just by getting the Echo Stomp onto whoever they're looking to chase down, right? Like, let's say you're running this way and you've got a Leshrac chasing after you. All you need to do is just start the Stomp over here, and they either have to disengage
10
or
seconds
pop a BKB
remaining.
and continue running, and then maybe you can look to have a kind of setup for a counter
5
initiation after that.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, I think Polaris right now, with all 4 of their heroes, they offer a lot of team fight prowess compared to Galaxy Racer. They're a lot more reliant on the early game, just run you over. The Blink Tiny, just a lot of the magic damage and into the early tower damage. They're not as reliant on the cooldowns as what Dire are. So we'll see how they can outround their draft. I mean, they're looking
10
for their
seconds
23rd
remaining.
pick, which is you can flex.
5
What do you think
seconds
they're looking
remaining.
for? They don't really have a standout 3. We don't see the Leshrac flex as often. It has been previously.
I'm just trying to
Dire
think,
team
like,
ban.
what do they need? Because I feel like we know how both of these teams are going to want to play
Radiant
this draft,
team
right? Like Galaxy Racer, they're constantly going to, like you said, with their low cooldowns, be
team
trying to
pick.
get pick off to pick off to pick
Templar
off every single
assassin.
time and look to snowball that into objectives. Even with the TA now, excuse me, those objectives are even easier to be able to take. Whereas Polaris, they're the polar opposite, in that they need to be playing around their cooldowns, and also
10
their heroes
seconds
kind of
remaining.
suck at pushing out creep waves. So if they don't have all of their ultimates off
5
cooldown,
seconds
they just
remaining.
need to be as spread apart as possible on the map, trying to, get as much gold and experience and map control as they can back, even if it means sacrificing a hero. The downside is that right now, no one really clears out the wave that Galaxy Racer are going to be pushing into. So I mean, you're basically just resigning the fact that, someone's going to die for very little
Choose your
impact.
hero.
I'm a fan of Galaxy Racer this time.
What makes you a fan of the lineup? Is it just the Wraith King getting picked up you weren't too happy with, or
Just the constant activity, right? Like, Wraith King doesn't do anything to solve the issue that I just said, right? Like, you either need to put someone in a lane to slow it down by a couple of seconds that's going to die anyway, or abandon a lane entirely and just give Galaxy Racer more and more map control because they're going to be able to take fights much more frequently. It's going to be a Nico Tidehunter. Okay. I mean, can they not just ignore the Wraith King and go for everyone else in these team fights and then leave him for last? That's definitely how I would look to do it. I mean, I guess they're saying, right, they've gone very pick-off heavy. Let's just get someone that doesn't care if he dies once, and then we can look to maybe turn things around. But in my eyes, you just don't focus the Wraith King unless you've got amazing vision and you know that no one's nearby.
yeah, I'm in agreement. I think they can avoid the Wraith King, and I think it'll get to the stage where I don't think he can go Radiance because he's against the Grimstroke. And nonetheless, I believe still the Dark Portrait's a pretty good target with the Wraith King anyway.
It is. It's
But-
insanely good.
I'm surprised they went into this hero. Like, Galaxy Racer, Wraith King's very good against heroes that are cooldown dependent. And you're going to have uptime. Like, Leshrac wants... He wants a fight where he can expend all his mana. Whether that's a short one where he blows everyone up or a long fight where he'll get use out of all his mana. And you're not going to need to use a whole lot to go through the first life of the Wraith King. I'm not a huge fan of this last pick. I feel Wraith King right now... We saw mid one play it at a very, very high level. He got so much farm. I went Wraith King. Went Wraith King. He went Armlet Radiance and just took over the game from there. I don't know if that's going to be the same case. I mean, it's a pretty strong lane. ET Wraith King up against the tiny Grimstroke.
I don't think he's going to have the space to do it. You know, like your map control is just going to keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking.
Yeah. So my question right now is that they picked the TA into the Queen of Pain. I think it's still a pretty Queen of Pain favored matchup. TA can always go back and farm up the jungle. I mean, the hero was slightly nerfed, but definitely not enough, it feels like, or that we're still not seeing her too much. But it's nice because you have Alacrity on a win condition here where your position 1 in quotations for in your dream is on a Leshrac who's not really going to scale as much as what you want. So going for a 2 that can, fulfill that void on the TA is very nice. We'll see how they can enable him stacks wise. So you're favoring Galaxy Racer?
It's going to need to be another stellar performance from Mac in my eyes. Like that's it for me essentially. Like he needs to create so much space, and they need to somehow come out heavily on top in a lot of these team fights. Even then, right, like if they get an amazing team fight early on, they're able to synergize all their ultimates together. The death time is going to be so low that Galaxy Racer are just going to respawn and do it all again.
I'm still trying to convince myself on who I prefer.
I'm pretty heavily Galaxy Racer favored, mostly because
I am
like this could be, if this is the last game, this could be our last game that we cast for the season. So I want one more.
I'm gonna go Galaxy Racer too. I'm in agreement. I think they're too cooldown dependent on Dire. They're gonna be too slow, and I think Radiant with their timings, first Roche they can just steamroll the map, get way too much map control, and Dire are very dependent on, I think, Blink Daggers on multiple heroes, but we'll see how that lane's fare. I mean, CML along with Natsumi. This is a very difficult lane for Mizu and Yorkam to play into. You've got down bot, Leshrac and Shadow Demon. We were saying that they could kind of pair these together. So we'll see how this combo can make out in the safe lane.
I mean, the last time I really saw those two heroes paired together regularly was at like TI4, and that was a support duo, so very rare that we see it as a position 1 Leshrac these days. If
anyone's going to play it as a 1, as meanwhile Yorkam is trying to juke back, but CML has guessed correctly the positioning. We need a couple more swings. The Great Fist, and I don't think he'll find it.
No, but he cancelled the salve, so it's as good as a kill effectively because it's going to push Yokem all the way back to base, and you might be able to get Mizu instead. Still has, excuse me, has very little armor. At least he's got the Ring of Protection, but it's going to make the farm for this Tiny not so good for the next 30 seconds or so.
So we've seen a couple of the TA Queen of Pain matchups so far, and both those times the TA's not gone for a point in meld at all, which, for anyone that's not aware, the meld is able to dodge the dagger. If you've got a sentry, then of course you've got the vision, so the dagger will not be dodged, which is fascinating to me. It looks like it's just the TA is trying to go head to head, and I think meld's got such a value level too. They didn't change it enough.
Yeah. I mean, I think just because maybe he saw Mac was holding on to a sentry ward, he might have got a little bit spooked, which is why
I didn't see that. Yep.
I'm a little like this observer ward in the lane, right? Like if you put down the sentry ward to make sure that you can see the TA, you're gonna be able to get the observer ward as well. So I'm a little confused by the placement as well from Alacrity there. Might have also just been given the sentry ward to see if his small camp would have been blocked up as well, just to prevent any kind of movement having to come out from one of the supports to make sure it was dewarded. No blocking really happened so far though on either team.
How's at least the bottom lane continuing to go at the moment? They've a bit messed up on the creep equilibrium. Polaris looking to reset that, especially by blocking up the hard camp. Can they find the connection on Boomy though? And Dream a little bit too slow to utilize this setup thanks to Polisan. It does look like Nico. We saw him have a very, very solid performance on the Pangolier in game 1. We'll see if this is going to be any different here with the Tidehunter. Just want to bring back up real quick. You were saying you feel like this game for Polaris is very off the back of Max Queen of Pain. Do you believe he has a game where he can, snowball and take over again?
I mean, he still hasn't leveled up the meld, so I think the lane's going a lot better for him than it probably should. Of course, you can't flash farm to the same extent as the TAs, so he needs to make sure that he's getting active and getting kills around the map, although it's Paulson that ends up picking up the first one there. I didn't think they even needed the Split Earth for that. Might have just been the Lightning Storm.
Oh. Very nicely done there. We see early on Lion just caught out of position, I suppose, and now Polo's even gonna make the trip, see if there's a bounty he can snag, and any stacks that made. He didn't make that expedition with a Sentry Observer to block up the camps, but meanwhile, Yokam has done an incredible job already to try and make some stacks in the jungle for the TA.
Nicely done. That's one of the benefits of the Grimstroke. Speaking of which, he's chasing up CML. Shouldn't be able to secure a kill. ET very tanky, very fast as well. Almost hitting up onto his level 3, so Mizu's going to have to look out on that top side of the map as well. I just like, even if Mac has a very good game, and well, there's that D-Ward that I was talking about there. Still hasn't got the point in the meld, but gets value out of the Sentry anyway. Even if Mac has like an amazing involvement in these team fights, I feel like it's going to be so rare that the Tiny and the Lesh and the TA are all clumped up in the one position to get hit by a Sonic Wave.
Maybe they could get an angle if Nico goes for like an early blink, because they are very much. Is Mac close to 6? Yeah, Alacrity's actually in trouble. He's got no refraction charges. Mac's going to commit. A big kill completed as, I mean, Boomy slightly involved there with the help of the Earth Spike, but they get Yokam too. No, CML not going to show any impact. Meanwhile, though, Nico down bottom. We see the fact that the Tidehunter has been left solo, so at least Policy in your dream getting something out of the map.
Max level 6 now, so of course it's very dangerous to come back to this lane as Alacrity. Although he is running a little low on mana, I suppose, on the Queen of Pain. Means that TA, if you did want to... I didn't even go into the Sonic Wave. I suppose just wanted to get a little bit more harassed, try and flash farm to match up the speed of Alacrity.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Need to be quick, though.
I think he recognizes that Alacrity is just probably only going to play the lane now to shove it out and go back in jungle. So your kill threat with Sonic Wave is at least in mid, maybe not as high. So You could always argue that you can make a play through the side lanes, but he potentially anticipates that he doesn't have the easiest lanes to gank. Top, you could argue he does. I mean, a Wraith King and an Elder Titan pretty easy, but I mean, CML is not even playing with Natsumi at the moment. In fact, Natsumi is looking to try and invade around the triangle where they already have the Observer Ward placed up, so they're well aware of how Alacrity's position. Mizu's going to join. Oh, we're going to have quite the brawl. It's almost everyone coming over by the triangle. I'll toss back Natsumi. She doesn't have an early level up. They'll target through Mizu. They got to secure the kill, otherwise the creeps will do it. A deny will fly. A 1-for-1, but it's going to secure to the favor of Galaxy Racer. Max still holding his position to the moment here with the Queen of Pain, but you see, just shy of that level 7, or maybe was needing the extra nuke potential.
I think they're just wanting to make sure everyone sticks around as well, so that Alacrity can absolutely take this this ancient stack.
On mid lane, might be a solo kill. Max in trouble. Bottle charge is not enough.
That's a big deal.
That is a gigantic kill for Leshrac to find solo on Mac as well, and simultaneously Alacrity is farming up a huge stack.
Paulson placed down a sentry ward. You know that they probably don't make that kind of aggressive movement if they didn't have vision of the area, so a little surprised that this observer ward has been able to stay here for as long as it has.
Bottom lane, Ravage. It's been used to try and clean off Mizu. They won't get the kill, in fact, just securing the tower, it looks like. Natsumi's going Radiance. Okay. It's also got to be said, I mean, Natsumi, Wraith King, is quite the classic as well through his Neon days, so...
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of time, like, when people were seeing Neon play, a lot of the criticisms that you were seeing on chat and social media was, oh, Natsumi, he's not up to the same sort of caliber as a lot of these other players. But the man has been grinding hard. He's actually number 2 on the SEA leaderboards right now, only behind VT Faded.
He's going to have quite the stacks to fall back on. They actually might give that to the Tide. I don't think the Wraith King can farm those stacks, so... The top lane. Polysinian Dream connecting once more for another kill. And he does have 3 points in the Edict, so they might look to try and transition this into their first tower of the game. They just need the creeps to connect for that.
He's trying to slow the creeps down as much as possible with the body blocks, but yeah, he's just going to continue to park himself up here. Again, you're not too concerned because Ravage was used on the bottom side. It'll mean that Nico is able to get a decent amount of farm here, but again, it's going to cost you some kind of map presence. So, clears out the wave, pops the Edict. Galaxy Racer should be fairly happy with this, being able to take away a lot of the map control that a Wraith King needs to be able to get the most out of his skeletons in particular.
I mean, meanwhile, you do see what Polaris are getting, though. This is looking like a quad for Nico. Already Hood, working in the phase boots next, so a lot of survivability. And also armor now, soon to be picked up to help verse the Templar Assassin. I wonder if it's going to bite them in the back, though, how they haven't hindered the Ancients from Alacrity. We saw yesterday's game with the Bob Templar Assassin SMG versus Execration game 3, where the Radiant Ancients were blocked for quite some time to really hinder the TA to flash farm, and this is a completely different story. Alacrity's gotten enough catch up after the roughish laning stage that he had to now be second in net worth, and also have to keep in mind maybe this was enabled partially because of how they early warded around their high ground just to scout out if CML was starting to make that expedition.
Yeah, and the other concern is, like, you're giving him all this farm. I mean, let's just imagine a future where, you know, he's got his BKB. What breaks the refraction charges? Because no one really wants to be hitting quite regularly outside of the Wraith King. Like, if you're in deep as a Queen of Pain, you're going to die. They've got a good amount of control right now on Galaxy Racer. It's going to entirely be up to, like, Natsumi's skeletons, basically, to try and clear out Alacrity's refraction charges. So, if they're able to dodge that, if he's able to get an early-ish BKB, which you will get from all these towers that you should be able to claim around the ultimate charges on Polaris, then I feel like Galaxy Racer is still in a pretty good spot.
Well, we'll see how they can mount a defense.
Again, like the ET, Lion, they don't deal with it. Even Queen of Pain, right? You need to be right up there for the Scream of Pain. You don't want to be committing a Sonic Wave. You don't have Ag Scepter, so you're not going to be able to push out these creep waves. They'll at least be able to put the body in the way on Nico, realizing that he is quite tanky. with the strength from the Soul Ring, the Hooded Defiance, Chip Vest, Phase Boots. So, you know, as farmed as they are, it's still going to take probably too long to get through this Tidehunter.
Meanwhile, across the map, we do see Natsumi wasn't joining that potential mid-fight, so he's still, working his way towards the Radiance here, 20 and 100 gold in the bank. What do you feel like the reasoning is for him going Radiance? I highlighted in the draft that I think it's a good way to deal with TA refraction and the long drawn-out fights that Leshrac likes to have, but I think that further enables just do an Aghanims on Yokam. So what do you feel like your thought process is with him going Rad?
I mean, it's a good farming item as well, I suppose. So just speeding up what next item you're able to get between all of your big ultimates. Also, we need to consider, hopefully he knows that you just need to press the Radiance button once as soon as the Shadow Demon disrupts you. Otherwise, you are creating that Radiance bird for the rest of your team.
Yeah, it's not even just a Grimstrike, hold on, thought. We've still got Shadow Demon in this game as well.
It's very easy, though. Yeah. Just when you're in the disruption, just press the button once. That's it. Take your hands off the keyboard, and you'll come out of the disruption with your Radiance turned off on the illusions.
For Radiant, they got a bit of an experienced lead at the moment. That's kind of the only thing that's really shifted in either team's favor. It's about a 4-level lead. It's nice that at least we can have that knowledge thanks to the new graph. Still would like it to have kind of the
win prob though.
Yeah, 65% Polaris. Are you in agreement? I know we were both favoring Galaxy Racer here, considering I think we were in agreement that Dire's just their slow cooldown dependency was going to be a big issue through the probably 20-minute stage. So do you feel like it's going to continue to hit that, or?
I feel like it would be a lot closer to even if they'd maybe taken one more tower on Galaxy Racer, considering they do have this TA and Leshrac draft. But Alacrity, he's getting close, right? He's nearly finished up his Desolator. He's got one Mithril Hammer component towards it, only about 1,000 gold away from the second. So I feel like it's probably going to even out once they're able to do that.
They might look to smoke now that Mizu's picked up the blink, and in fact, he's even going to join mid. If they can toss back Nico, find the angle. Oh, nice positioning, Nico.
Not the range creep, though.
That's huge, because I was just going to say, I think Galaxy Racer look to smoke, wrap around, you put maybe Leshrac on the front line, then the full wrap, get a quick burst from the Tiny, and then you can take the tower with the numbers advantage. But now, they have to completely go away from mid, so they're trying to find the farming pattern of Natsumi, but they're going to double back now to mid. They're kind of in two minds of how they want to take this smoke. They might just have to get the kill on Boomy.
I can see a stack. That's kind of big.
Nonetheless, they'll kill him off. Have they dealt with the creep wave already? Yeah, Nico has. And Dai have Glyph too.
I feel like you can still take this. I still feel like it's fine. Got plenty of mana right now in your Dream. They don't have a ton of stuns available. Still don't have that Blink Dagger available on the Tidehunter, so they'll be able to clear out this creep wave, take the tower, and
the back line.
Looking for a follow-up here.
A long toss back, Nico. He doesn't have the hood, still on cooldown. They've also got the banishment on CML, but Polison used the purge earlier. So
let's take the stack.
How big is it? Oh, yep, double, you take it.
It's just Natsumi, though, he has almost finished up his Radiance, only about 400 gold away. But that's exactly what you needed on Alacrity. That'll get him very close to finishing up that Desolator. Might even look to wait around, perhaps on Polison. Oh, he wouldn't use the... They're going to block up the camps with the illusions. Very nicely done. Might even be able to snipe out the bounty rune as well that spawns at 15 minutes. Unless Mizu... Yeah, he's like, oh, just give it to me, bro.
What have we here?
And now it feels like this game is going to be off the edge of the first Radiance timing with the ultimates here from Polaris. We haven't seen them come into the fray just yet. And if they use it before a big Roche fight, then Radiant, they'll be okay with maybe losing one or two, respawning, then going back into the pit to take it. So they have to be very cautious with their fight selection on Polaris. We might see a kill on Yokam up top. The TPs are coming through, so they'll have to drop the finger. Even Mac! That's a hefty commit with Sonic Wave. Two ultimates used just for the kill on Yokam. Mizu looking to hunt, and it looks like poor old Boomy, only 330 movement speed. And the Fairy Pony catch up in your Dream. He hasn't really gone into the movement speed. Will attempt the Q TP out. They'll cut him down. The sidestep not enough. And we'll see, is this instant Roche?
Could be. Radiance is up, though. Might just look to push out one more wave on the bot side on Natsumi, get his skeleton spawned. You've got the siege creep wave, so try and force someone to TP down towards the bottom side to defend this. It's also level 12, so even if he went down, it's not going to be hugely impactful with that 130-second reincarnation timer.
Oh, you see the recognition for Dire as well. They're so aware. Like, this is the next objective for Galaxy Racer. 2 wards in the vicinity. They know this is going to be coming up in the next couple of minutes here. They've even bought the blink just on Nico, but they're looking to jump. Mizu toss back. Might just set up for a beautiful Ravage, but the timing with the embrace, they'll get the kill. Splitter not enough to reset his position, but Mizu, he'll still compromise his own as well on top of the high ground. Remember, this is the first fight with the Radiance too, but they're holding back multiple heroes thanks to Leash. Natsumi, he hasn't locked onto a target just yet. They'll deal with the first life. They need the extra heroes to keep him alive. In fact, the numbers are going to come through with the buyback just in case it further breaks out here from Mizu. A heavy commitment, but the recognition. This first Roche could just tell the story of the game.
They should be able to very easily take this. CML, he did a good job. He made sure that there was some constant dewarding happening in the area. They see Mac actually coming up towards the top side. Not sure if you've got the damage to do it with just Mizu. And Shadow Demon looking to deal with it. But yeah, pretty easy first Roche coming through. You would think giving it over to In Your Dream right now, although both of them freeing up at item spot. Maybe it's just going to be who's got the fastest fingers.
Has fallen to the
Instant smoke as well, but it's underneath an observer ward put right outside the Roche pit. So let's see some of the defensive positioning coming out from all the heroes. Natsumi is making sure to just go as far away from Roche as possible, farming up this jungle, not revealing all too much. Trying to passively shove out the wave as well with his skeletons. CML, good positioning again. Just parking himself right inside those trees. In Your Dream, Mizu, their smokes end up popping, so it's a good movement coming through there.
You see how much of an issue...
Ravage wasn't used.
I think they need all their ultimates. They're coming back up, but again, I mean, Mizu on this tiny... He's been a huge reason why they've been able to win these fights. That toss back, displacing the Tidehunter.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Grimstroke is...
They can just continue to commit onto this tier 2 tower. Nothing stopping him. At least with the Desolator now, the Diabolic Edict isn't going to have its damage buffed up. So that's a little bit of the reason why you don't see the Leshrac quite so commonly. It doesn't synergize quite as well. But still, it's a very effective tool at being able to take objectives after a one-team fight. 50-50, says Dota Plus.
Wow.
Even though it's a pretty comfortable experience and net worth lead, about 3-4k across both of them there.
Do you feel like Dota Plus is just banking on the late game potential that Polaris have?
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
I mean, again, Galaxy Racer don't have bad late game. You've got
Indeed.
a Grimstroke that can go into an Ags. And by the way, is he 250 gold away from it on Jocam?
We're gonna have a fight down bot.
Dire's bottom tower has
Alright,
fallen.
they're setting up for the tier 2 tower defense. They've got a great ward on the high ground as well, so they'll see Natsumi starting to make his way down bottom. Mizu instant jump, but he hasn't found the catch just yet. That's going to compromise his own position. They're going to cut their losses instantly. The Tiny the first to fall. You see the rest of Radiant. They're still actually playing on the outskirts. They've got a great lane ward. There we go. You see, like you were saying...
This is a little too keen. Like, Jocam is 100 gold away from his Ags. Like, a 20-minute Ags on a Grimstroke against a Wraith King with Radiance is nuts.
Oh, Natsumi? He's stuck around. He's still got Reincarnation. Nico as well could try and set up for the Ravage, but once again, the Phantom's Embrace cutting through that factory is going to look to jump in. Now they'll turn back around instantly. Who do they want to target? A beautiful follow-up with the Earth Splitter will cut through the Leshrac. And so we'll have to be cautious about the second life that Alacrity has to play with the Sonic Wave. We'll look to cut down the first. Round 2, ready to rock and roll, but they don't have the numbers advantage for Galaxy Racer. A surrounding, overwhelming amount of numbers will mean that Alacrity has no opportunity. He'll still get the kill nonetheless before he dies, so a beautiful job at that. Maybe he can also get the kill on the Lion. But Polaris do hit back. They won't find Polison before the TP. Nonetheless, signs of life.
Signs of life that probably shouldn't have happened, you know? Like, they made that attempt. Mizu goes on his own into enemy territory where they didn't have vision. Sure, you had the Aegis, but they had it for another 2 minutes at the time, and I feel like it's crazy when you're that close to an Ags on your Grimstroke to not want to use it to its full potential. Like, all it would have taken was just 30 seconds more of waiting, group up entirely together. That's not going to change the status of the game in terms of what cooldowns Polaris have available, and it would have meant that, you know, you don't die back on Mizu, you don't lose your Aegis, and you probably don't die on the TA. You know, maybe only one of those things happen.
See that, man, it was 50% before? Straight up to 71 now for Polaris. What? Dota Plus has got a bit of a soft spot for some of these heroes.
Likes its team fight.
Yeah.
They're looking to go again. This is it, right? Just bang, bang, bang. Again, again, again. That's the strategy right now for Galaxy Racer.
Back. He's got CMO on the back line.
First.
For the banishment to set up for the Split Earth. The beautiful combo that we've seen through the history of Dota, the Shouty team, and Lesh together.
Yeah. He has to be careful about where he shows as well, right? Like, we've talked about it before. The range on that Dark Portrait is nuts.
Dire's middle tower
He doesn't have the Psychic Headband, so at least that's going to be working in Polaris's favor. But, you know, they're just going to test if there's any kind of buybacks available. They'll at least pop the Glyph. I think you're totally happy with that on Galaxy Racer. You could look to take more control over the map. Maybe towards the top side might be the better option, but I suppose whenever you've got a TA, you always want there not to be the safe haven of the triangle for a Wraith King to be farming in, and if you could just look to take that farm for yourself.
Oh my god.
He's
gonna lose his first life. Well, yeah, I mean, you got big issues. You got big Grimstroke issues. It feels like you have to kill Grimstroke to start the fight. I don't think there's anyone else should be the other priority.
And that's why Jokam's going for the Blink Dagger, so he could be nowhere near the rest of the team fight. You don't have great ways to wrap around or instantly get onto the back lines. Like, if you commit this this Blink onto Max Queen of Pain, you essentially instantly have to pop the BKB. So it's looking a little bit rough unless they go for a full wraparound as a team to try and find it.
Top tower has fallen.
There we go. No Glyph. Keep on pushing forward. Why not? You know there's no reincarnate for a good minute and a half.
They're going to smoke up as well. Make it that much more difficult.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't be clumping together quite as much as this, though. You know, you want to make sure that you're staying a little bit spread so you're not getting, you know, the Ravage into the ET ultimate.
They're actually going to look to make their way to Natsumi, which... Oh no.
Listen, he's got that Aether Lens.
I mean, they need TPs, they need him ASAP. Reincarnation still on cooldown, but Dire smoking outside the base. I don't think Natsumi's gonna last that long.
Joker's like, just leave him. Let me get the portrait, and he does. Oh, he turned it off though. He turned off the radiance as soon as he saw the Grimstroke coming towards him. So there's that little bonus, but he'll still whack the tower a few times. It does take a good amount of physical extra damage though, even though the movement speed is increased.
This is a window here where maybe they can do some poke damage, take the tier 3. Do not want to buy back on the Wraith King. So a tower that will be siege looks to be with ease. They're going to stick as well. I mean, Alacrity still has this 9-second BKB ready and available. And Mizu's standing kind of near the vicinity to try and find a toss target.
Gotta be careful about clumping up this tightly again. You know, exactly what we were talking about before. There is the potential for the Blink Ravage into the ET ultimate. It's still level 1, so not as effective as it could potentially be, but you never want to give them an opportunity to come back into this game. Alright, Dota Plus, what do you say? Finally, favorite Galaxy Racer.
Oh, hang on. See what this happens after the fight. 5 out from Polaris, looking to try and head to top where In Your Dream farming at the moment.
Once he picks up that BKB, it feels like there's very little that they can do on Polaris to try and turn this around. Like, you're going to need to Blink Ravage right on top of In Your Dream, because he's got fast enough fingers that he's going to be able to get it off if it's anything but that.
Again, feels like, you know, pivotal moment could be the next Roshan. It's going to be up in a minute here. Dire, once again, already getting set up with their Observer Ward placement.
Dire's bottom tower.
I think
Blink Daggers on both of the supports as well, so you've even got Save. You know, they can just stay well back from every single team fight. They see Natsumi farming here underneath the tier 2 tower. It's not a bad target considering, you know, you've got great ways to take towers. There's no glyph available.
He needs to get BKB. They need this before the next fight. Oh, don't do it. If they call mid, actually, Max in trouble. He himself has to pop a very early BKB just to keep the life, but a charge now wasted as Boomy expends his life there, down for 40. Meanwhile, Roche is up in 20 seconds. Ooh, that was very close.
I mean, you could just push forward though, right? Like, I don't think they care about Roche right now. There's no one that has an amazing ag shard. I guess the Leshrac is kind of nice to be able to stop the Wraith King from committing into the fight pre-BKB. But yeah, just take the free laner Rax, why not?
That they
now
will.
You can Roche if you want to. Maybe after taking the outpost. Also at the same time, you can look to get that 27-minute neutral items coming out there.
Bounty.
Oh, Natsumi's got BKB. He's gonna TP back. They have a smoke. CML's got 2. It's gonna be underneath his vision right now if they go for it.
Well, they have to be careful because Polison's showing on the bottom side of the map. So
they
there's
smoked
full
on
smoke
division
coming up from Polaris. They smoke on division and they're going to back off. They realize the strength that they have is when they're fighting as a full team on Galaxy Races. So no TP on Shadow Demon means that he needs to try and get towards that tier 2 tower as quickly as possible, rally around the rest of the team. And the tankiest hero that we've got right now, even though he doesn't have the BKB, is Mizu, so he just parks himself on the front lines to make sure he's the one that breaks any kind of smokes. That's the advantage of having all of your towers still withstanding in the mid lane.
They quite often for Dai, the trigger point is having bottom shoved out. This can make it very difficult for the side of Radiant to take Roshan, but that's not going to be a factor. They also lose their ward in the river, which is going to be a huge disadvantage now for Polaris to jump in. Who have they found? Banishment, it's on CML. He's stuck in the corner too. Look at the leash, and the beautiful target is the Wraith King. So Miz is going to look to jump, and now with the reveal of the BKB, but this is on the first life of Nico. He doesn't want to use the Ravage just yet. They completely wasted their BKB. They're still going to try and trail on for Mizu, but the whiff of the Sonic Wave means that Mizu hasn't died. Now they're forced to drop the Ravage, but still no one's died on Galaxy Racer. Maybe with a second life, they can actually burst down the Leshrac, Polaris. A lot of ultimates committed here. Look for the reset.
I think you just take the loss, go back, get your resources, and just do the same thing again. You know, Ravage, it's got a long enough cooldown that you're fine with that. At least for Polaris, Natsumi, he's at least level 18 now, so it's only the low cooldown on the reincarnation, but still, no Sonic Wave, no Ravage, that's the bigger deal.
Oh, okay, well they picked off Boomy.
Ballsy play by Mizu.
Meanwhile, Polison, I believe he's also going to get picked off, although he does have reinforcements starting to surround the area. Kama, a little bit too late to provide some assistance, maybe a rebuttal on CML. And so cautious though with the health pool that he has right now. He's not looking to jump in.
I think he has to be much more careful than he is. You know, it's not like they're lacking complete damage potential right now on Polaris, and they're even going for the Blink Dagger next on the Wraith King. I like it. You know, the way that they are going to win this game is if they get it onto the backlines and kill the Shadow Demon or the Grimstroke before they're able to, you know, get off their full complement of spells.
I do not know if Radiant... They got 70 seconds till Ravage is back up.
They can. They can.
Okay.
I am confident.
I think if you don't do it now, then that's a big window for Dai, because Natsumi's now hit level 20. He's got the cleave talent. He's also got the...
They're just trying to fix the lanes a little bit.
Oh, there's a DD. That's important. Oh, well, now you can just brute force in.
Yeah, in your dream. Just wanted to shove this lane out a little bit. He's got the boots of travel, so he can join the team at any time. Might even looking to be a bit of a distraction here on the bot side.
I don't know if you give this for free.
I don't know if you can do anything about it is the question. They've still got, well, only 5 seconds on the Sonic Wave, but 30 on the Ravage. That's
Maybe
a big deal for them.
No, I don't know if you can delay that long. They're going to look to jump in instantly, but Polison up to the sideline once again. The banishment, it's going to be enough to keep Alacrity alive for a little bit of duration, but now with the BKB, is it enough? He's still going to turn. Look at the side blade spill damage that was trying to deal with Roshan. An agent potential. In Your Dream's going to snatch it, but Alacrity's still alive at the mouth of the pit. They haven't killed him just yet. Until Natsumi with the great sword will bring him down, but he doesn't have the second life. It's a Wraith King. Will fall to the overwhelming numbers that Galaxy Racer have.
Pretty much as expected, right? Like, can you imagine how that team fight's different if you got the Ravage? You know, you're able to get that blink right inside the pit, pop the Ravage, get the kill onto the Leshrac before he's able to pick up the Aegis, and then suddenly, you know, you might have a small opportunity, but they still did end up popping the Earth Splitter. They used the Sonic Wave. No Ravage, but if there's no damage to follow up with it, then you know, I don't think you're caring all that much. In your dream, even doing his best to body block the siege creep so it stays alive, it will not, unfortunately.
I mean, you got tier 2 down bot at least. So it will not be Megas you're going up against. It's going to be a secondary set.
I just think Galaxy Racer have played this game exactly as they needed to. The one mistake was going for that kill towards the bottom side just prior to the Dark Portrait. But other than that, it seems like they've executed exactly what they needed to do. What's the neutral item situation looking like? Yeah, maybe they could just use this little bit of time with TA trying to respawn to pick up a few more. Ceremonial Robe, certainly not a bad item for a Shadow Demon, although any kind of cast range is always great. There you go. Psychic Headband, Spider Legs, exactly what you need.
What a scan. Maybe anticipating Dive trying to play outside the base on an opportunity to catch them out guard by this tier 2 tower push that's soon to come.
That Elven Tunic is actually so huge for Alacrity. Being able to dodge out some of the skeleton hits, protect his refraction for that little bit longer with the Black King bar.
We see he's even on Silver's Edge on Alacrity, so great versus the Tide. I mean, the Wraith King. Yeah. Here we go. Smokers 4. In your dream needs to refresh the resources. Who got the Ag Shard? Was it Tiny?
I'm gonna assume yes. Maybe it was the Quap.
Yeah. Dire. Try and live and die on the higher ground, but Radiant, they got the vision to jump in instantly from Mizu with a toss up. They'll look to burst through Boomy, which they'll do so successfully. With a Ravage to fly from Nico. Meanwhile, on top of the backline, they've killed off the Grimstroke, the other support as well. So the key components, but is it going to be enough? Of course, you got the Aegis advantage. Natsumi with the respawn is targeting Mizu, but now he's stuck on the high ground inside the cliff. Will BKB look to retreat? If they can get out with what they've got in here from Polaris, they've got to be pretty happy with that team fight. They forced a couple of buybacks.
But Aegis still got it for 2 minutes. Didn't use your BKB. Able to take away the Observer Ward, take the outer tower. It just feels like they're slowly going to continue to bring this one to a close for Galaxy Racer. The other factor is the other waves are going to passively push in towards you. So do they make this attempt without Mizu? It feels a little risky, but again, all you need to do is wait 40 seconds, and then you've still got Ravage off cooldown for a full minute. So can't see the harm. Oh, and even the DD on the bottom side of the river.
Oh boy.
What more could you possibly want? Might look to keep it there for a little bit, just so that you know, you're maximizing the uptime of it. Seems like that's exactly what they're doing. Paulson looking to try and protect some of the vision that they've got there. They won't do it though. I don't mind them buying a gem either, because it feels like if they lose another team fight, they're going to lose the game. So may as well just go all out to try and remove as much of the information as you've got.
1000%.
With a bit of a risky spot.
I don't know if he meant... I don't think he meant to do it on himself. Like, hang on a second. Did he really do that? I'm 100% in agreement. I think this game is all reliant on you being able to catch the supports. We saw what different of a fight that could have been without the Dark Portrait and also the Banishment defensive factor. So if they can have the vision advantage and just make it that much more difficult for how Galaxy Racer supports can play, we'll see how this can potentially turn a fight back in their favor, but it's not going to be an easy defense by any standards. So they're going to look to smoke up and make the long wrap around. They got a great ward actually in the lane that might scout out some of the positioning. Mizu's going to toss back Mac, but an instant BKB. They're going to be careful if they climb up. Natsumi's going to look to jump it. There's the banishment. Nico, he needs to find this out with the Ravage, but it's still on cooldown for another 5 seconds here. They dealt with the Aegis. Polaris next to fall as well. Natsumi's still getting pushed further and further back.
The Dark Portrait.
But it's a very split up fight at the moment. It's in your dream with the BKB pop. He's trying to do as much damage as he can here, but it looks like Galaxy Racer, they want to reset.
I mean, I don't hate it. They were so close to getting the kill onto Jokam, and I'm pretty sure Natsumi's illusion hit him once and took him from 90% down to about 15. So it is something that's, of course, a little bit scary to be able to fight up against, but they did a good job at being able to kite it around a little bit. Still, though, the dieback was expended for the Shadow Demon, and I really like the fact that he's going into the Aeon Disc.
Max in... Okay.
He was in a little bit of trouble. That could have gone a lot better, though, for Polaris. The Aegis, I think, only had like 3 seconds left on it.
And Ravage was on cooldown, too.
Yeah.
I think there was about 5 seconds before they looked to jump in. Who knows how different that fight could have been if Nico found the Ravage. I mean, if he gets enough farm for double, it really feels like it's off the back of the cooldowns. Because if they maybe expend a lot, only get 1 kill off the respawns, Galaxy Racer could just push down bot and maybe get megas. So, I mean, we've seen what a late game Tide could do. It's a scary prospect.
Dire are scanning.
Even got Elder Titan, you know, I feel like he's as big a part of a lot of these team fights as anyone, you know, forcing out those earlier BKBs through the use of the Echo Stomp. They're so farmed on the enemy team that it sucks that you can't be in there for your natural order to have the impact, but at least the Spirit can use the armor reduction component, and of course your Earth Splitter now at your level 15, it's doing 40% max HP as damage. So if you're able to get that solid Ravage off, then, you know, you can be in a pretty good spot to do a ton of damage for yourself. So I wonder what the game plan is here for Galaxy Racer. Do they feel like they should be waiting out the next Aegis respawn? The downside of that, of course, is that, you know, Wraith King's going to get bigger. He'll reach that level 25. He'll have the -2 second Mortal Strike cooldown, be very hard to take down. And also the fact that, like you mentioned before, this Refresher Orb becomes a factor for the Tidehunter.
I want to bring up, too, that Max going for this item build that we've seen some of the Queen of Pains go. It was the early Kyron Sunj, BKB Shivas into Octarine. He's got so much survivability, and that's going to be enabled by his 25. I don't believe you go spell block. There's nothing really he's worried about this game. So the -2 second blink, it's going to put it down to 2.5 because he's got the... I think, did he actually swap up? Yeah, he went Elven Tunic instead of Quickening Charm, but you've got incredible uptime on your Blink, which is the silence is 1.75 seconds. It's a really, really cool build, and with all your spell life still, not easy to burst.
Sure. Although, what will be difficult is the fact that Galaxy Racer, you always talk about the value of information, right? And
jump through, straight on top of the last track. Once again, the support positioning has to be on point, and it is.
He's got Aeon Disc,
banishment to keep him alive, but in your dream, like you said, with the Aeon Discs, they're going to be cautious at the back, like it's Mizu's trying to pick off one of the targets. He hasn't locked onto anyone just yet, so Max going to pounce forward. Mizu, no assistance, so the Sonic Wave burst potential is there. They'll bring him down. They're even going to look to jump on. In your dream, the Aeon Disc was popped previously. But the Fairy Pony's fast enough, or is he? Max still committing a BKB at the last second with the Bloodstone. Is it going to be enough to keep In Your Dream alive? At the moment it is. They forced the buyback on Mizu. You've got to be cautious though. The creeps are starting to funnel inside the base.
You can see CML in here. He's going to be taking a little bit of damage.
Don't hurt me, please.
Poor guy.
Does he buy back? You can't let this Roche go for free.
You have to. But the base as well. Like, he has to defend that too.
Oh, no. You need the ET also to get the vision. No one else can provide vision right now.
Yeah.
Here we go. He's going to join. 5 on 4, 4 on 5 at the moment. Pop's not there. There's a lot of mobility. Boomy looking for an angle in, but he might just run into In Your Dream. Is trying to get rid of the Observe Ward. Boomy's in trouble to force back to safety. They're going to be cautious again. If they group up, another banishment, that's a huge way to be able to protect the Leshrac, and Alacrity just rips apart the Ravage. It'll at least control up the Leshrac, so they're going to pounce on forward once again, trying to bring down In Your Dream. He's down 90 seconds without a buyback, and now they'll kite Alacrity. Without the BKB, he's trying to lock onto a target, but Natsumi still. He'll look to rejoin, but on top of the backline, Mac is going ham. Completely focusing the support, but he's going to be cautious. The Meld Bash is enough to control him. The buyback starting to funnel in. Nico will attempt to TP out. Paulison, is he going to cancel? He does. But the rest of the team, off the buybacks, it's not going to matter. Alacrity reigning supreme through this fight. Look at the commitment. All or nothing here from Polaris. 2 full sets of barracks down. You cannot let this Roche go.
Very basic information, but no TA. The traps aren't there. doesn't have many spots to be able to TP to either, so will they be able to take this quickly enough? I feel like it's a huge window, especially, excuse me, considering In Your Dream is still dead on the sidelines for 40 seconds, no buyback. TA's going to try and do her best.
Jump in, we'll see what TA can do. They're trying to find a window on top of the backline as well with Mizu. Hasn't found a straggler just yet. They're getting the side lane shoved through, but Roche form very, very low.
Those DKBs being popped
And
on
they need
Mac,
to deal
that's a
with
big deal.
the Soulbind illusion. And will finally, Nico to jump, Ravage still on cooldown for 70 seconds. Mac again looking to deal with the supports. With the help of the Echo Stomp, that's enough. They'll deal with the Shadow Demon down, but he's going to buy back to join. Still the target is Roshan. Someone needs to find an angle inside the pit. They're going to try and lay down with the Earth Splitter, which is enough. Natsumi will pick up the Aegis, but still they're going hack on top of the backline. Alacrity, he's had a free 5 at the moment. They'll deal with the first life. He's still also got the Aegis to play around with the Echo Stomp. Disabling the Templar Assassin, but he's got the BKB in the back to be able to utilize. But the toss, it actually gives Natsumi an opportunity to reset his positioning. But the Fairy Pony back alive is In Your Dream. Can he find an angle to the back line? Trying to find CML, Mac as well, sticking around. They've got the important objective in Roshan. They'll live to survive another day.
And what I want to know is, how is the base not dead yet? That fight went on for so long, and somehow the Super Creeps still weren't able to get the job done. Come on, boys. All the Tier 4 towers are still standing. I mean, I understand what you were talking about there with Mizu obviously tossing Natsumi out, giving him the avenue to escape with that Aegis, but he just bought back for that. So you needed to make sure that you weren't having the dieback, you weren't giving them the opportunity to finally start to, go down some of these side lanes, take objectives away. They're still feeling confident. They're going down the bot side.
They are.
Might be a little antsy here from In Your Dream, though. You got to wait for the rest of the team.
Okay, shards on Lesh. I didn't see where Cheese landed. Natsumi still has Aegis. Well, we've seen what Alacrity can do, though. This man's DPS at this stage in the game, unfathomable. At least what he's able to dish out. Tide's up in 5. They need the Ravage. All or nothing. Back to the jump once again. He's stuck inside a rock in a hard place, so he has to pop the BKB incredibly defensively. Off to the western side, Alacrity.
You got to back off, surely.
His loans himself, but that they will look to try and readjust how they find an angle in. But now with Tier 3 tower down, Mega Creeps, it's a possibility.
Yeah, for sure. Nearly Tier 4 tower down as well, one of them. The range creeps nearly did the job, but the defense force, the tower defense coming through from Polaris. We know what sort of Dodo arcade games that they like to play. And even going for the Swift Blink as well. Again, like, it feels like so much of this team fight is for them to be able to get on to this Shadow Demon and be able to pick him off in every single team fight. I love the fact that even though, again, the cast range, very important for a Shadow Demon, he's gone the ninja gear instead. So he always has that smoke that he can just stay in the cover of.
Are there any clutch level 25s you feel like will play a big factor here through the later stage of this game?
Ooh, I mean, who's got them already? Mizu, he's got the multiple toss charges, not really going to be super impactful. You often see that, in place when you're tossing people back into the fountain. Let me have a look. Boomy, not really getting close to his 20, but honestly, not really. Like, the meld hit bash is only really good for cancelling out TPs. The fact that you're getting close to the level 18 on CML might actually be the bigger factor. Like, 10% max HP as damage is a big differential there to be able to have in sort of any kind of team fights. And it seems like they're doing a decent job of being able to delay it. Dota Plus seems to still give them a 14% chance, though. And, it's hard to go against that, right? Like, they're somehow managing to hold on by a thread. But it's just going to become so much harder. It's just building into the Aeon Disc and realize that Natsumi, he is the be-all and end-all for the lives of these supports. So it's not even just them. In Your Dream also holding onto the Aeon Disc. Still 40 seconds on its cooldown, though, so has to be a little bit careful about his positioning.
Polaris, smoked out.
Paulison as well.
Galaxy Racer.
6 seconds left. Oof. I'd hate to get caught out with your Aeon Disc just off cooldown.
See, they're also giving the aesthetic cap over to Alacrity. So, like you're saying, the recognition with the Aeon Disc, just a lot of emphasis on surviving through that burst and getting the defensive items or abilities off. So, with this new neutral item, the debuff is going to be so important for the first 3 seconds on Alacrity. You see I mean, he's 9-3-11. This man, he had a rough game one on the Void Spirit, but man, is he turned this around. What a TA performance.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he straight up saved 2 Roche fights on his own in your dream. Slightly out of position, maybe not using the BKBs to their full extent and not respecting the fact that his Aeon Disc was on cooldown a couple of times. But certainly the slack has been picked up there. Just looking to get some of these lanes passively pushing in, maybe even forcing a defense coming through from one of the supports. Although they'll see that someone's nearby. With the use of a smoke, although Mizu was close.
You also got to keep in mind...
I don't know if you could go for that, though, right? Like, he's still got the Aegis, man. I don't think you kill Natsumi 3 times before the rest of the team joins you. You got to pick off someone else. Who does have buyback? Let's have a look at that. Only in your dream.
Okay, well, bottom's completely shoved out with a double catapult. It'll do a little bit of damage. Not that I think they'll go back. No, one's going back in your dream. Still holding a refresher shard as well.
I wonder if they get an instant smoke and response here coming out. Maybe just wanting to push this top wave in once.
Where's the gem? Okay, Max got it.
Max got it.
I was just going to say, like, again, it feels like this game's all on vision. You need the jump.
How the hell does Polaris have both outposts at this point?
They're coming outside the base, the Aegis. Just ticks out. Miz is going to look to jump CML, popping his own BKB to secure the kill, but the 4-star free position. The only issue is, you got to go up against your own Wraith King. She's sending it back to Boomy. Hello, help team, please, need some assistance. That's their AT for 70 seconds as well. You need every single hero you can get to mount a defense.
Mizu just TP'd all the way back to base, so it's going to take him a little bit of time to rejoin the rest of his team. It's only time as well that the ET has that means that he doesn't have the buyback. So just 20 seconds away, they might have given up a small opportunity there to push in one of the other waves and just connect to the bot side.
I do not hate this play if they go for it. They got a really strong observe ward in the bottom lane, kind of at the Tinker position. They were thinking about setting up over there. I also like this pickup from Natsumi, the Nullifier, to heavily deal with some of the issues you have in the Aeon Disc and just the defensive itemization.
Has he finished it? Because he's switching around a little bit with his
he's going Scardy now, yeah, okay.
I think there's so much that you want. You know, you want to have about 8 slots right now if you're this Wraith King. Just hit the towers.
Well, I mean, everything is going to be a T4 tower. Yeah, that's. I was just going to say everything is a huge factor. This game, unhealable damage, whatever it is, tower. At least in one of them's got 27 health, but the fact that Dire also have Glyph as well, you know, we have to keep tabs on that on a late game like this. I mean, we were saying I think Polaris are going to be very strong as the game goes later. It's different when you're down 16,000 gold and 2 full sets of barracks, but we have seen this team can take solid team fights.
Yes. I mean, the next big timing for them is if CML can get to 18. I don't think you get that much stronger across the board. Like, you can see he's trying to go into an Aghanim Scepter on the Queen of Pain. I feel like just saving for buyback is much more important, just because you are fighting inside your base. Maybe you bait Galaxy Racer out to commit a little bit too hard, and, you know, that's the way that you're able to turn this game around.
Mark?
Dire's bottom barracks are under
He'll be fine.
Just gotta be careful about that trap silence. He will be fine. But I'm still...
into the Bloodthorn, it seems, on Alacrity.
They're still playing around this ward. They've got for another minute 30 here. Dire seem to be aware. They haven't really controlled the far side of bottom. So the awareness that, you know, Polaris have at least the vision control thanks to the gem. We see a Mac just consistently bouncing back and forth, making sure they can set up tabs. Got to be cautious though, setting up a trap around mid. Miscommunication though, a banishment overlapping with the avalanche. They're going to jump in instantly with the Ravage clipping Poison. But it forced the Aeon Disc, but they've split up the fight to the northern side.
Double purge.
Once again, but they end up losing Mac. The gem dropped on the deck. Nico's in trouble though with the purge, like you were saying. Is it going to give him an opportunity to retreat out to safety? It might just do so. They close the distance and bring him down. Tied 70 seconds, but they've got the buybacks.
That's the big difference between the previous one and this. This time, everyone has buyback except for the Lion right now. Only a little bit of gold away on Boomy
no Ravages
needing it.
Natsumi. I mean, you need to deal with the supports. If you can put the claws on the front line, Feels like it doesn't matter. Hex is out, but still, he's got the air disc to protect him. Once again, Mac, he just pulled back. He's going to be cautious, Mac. A double toss up the air. Play around with the refresher. It's not enough. Mac's gone. 120 seconds. It's going to be the Natsumi show now. Oh, no. Even the Dark Portress just dealing with the illusions. The supports push further and further back inside the base, and
Run, Boomy.
we're about to have Megas. Boomer's out,
Dire's bottom barracks.
but the objectives are not. Megas now left standing. Polaris 4
No
against
Ravage.
5 without the Ravage.
No
How do you
Air
do it?
Dire's middle tower.
Not even reincarnation available.
I'll make the attempt, but again, Alacrity's got multiple heroes in the back line. It's just Natsumi at the moment. They'll deal with the first life instantaneously. Alacrity in your dreams damage is too much to deal with. They didn't even have the reincarnation. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to a game 3.
Get hype. I mean, it's kind of what we were expecting. You know, they just played it perfectly. They took team fight after team fight after team fight. A few small mistakes ended up costing them, but just shows that Dota Plus Gaben has no idea what he's talking about in terms of that win probability.
Goddamn, Daddy Gaben, come on. Where's the... You got to be on point with the probability. We're expecting high things from you. Galaxy Racer, though, incredible performance for them to be able to hit back. You know, it's been a rough past 5 games, like we were saying. They had a 14 win streak, then a 5 loss streak, and now they kind of stemmed the momentum that other teams were building up against them. We have a game 3 going the distance, but it really felt like Alacrity just has an incredible, comeback performance from game 1 to game 2, and it's got to be said also the impact that the supports had in this game was exponential. It
was enormous. Like, even in that last team fight, it was the supports that won them that game, that forced the buyback out of Mac. You know, the soulbind into the demonic purge meant that Mac was just held in place, gave them enough time to be able to chain burst him down. I thought if there was anything that could have probably changed around in that fight, in that game, it would have been Mizu. I thought he got his Black King bar way too late. There were so many times where he was, super deep on the front lines, and he just got picked off one too many times for my liking without having any kind of escape mechanism for himself. With, of course, like, you just have to consider how much damage and stun potential that they have. Essentially, nothing goes through the BKB right now outside of just pure right-click damage and I guess the Sonic Wave and the Earth Splitter. But other than that, it was just too much to handle, too fast-paced, and a little too greedy for Polaris.
Oh, the boys on Galaxy Race are able to withstand the heavy team fight and the late game kind of almost potential that Polaris had to be able to come back and take the series, I should say, 2-0. But for Galaxy Racer, they'll live for another day, forcing us to go to a game 3. We'll see who's now going to be our 6th team eliminated from the BTS Pro Series. We've got game 3 coming up shortly.